Hey everyone, welcome to Backstage Banter. Thanks for joining us today as we tell some stories, discuss life, and take a humorous and irreverent look at the backstage world of the entertainment industry. Today we're going to be trying something a little new, starting a new series. I have Jay Sheehan here with me. We met back in 2018, and we've recently, in the past year or so, just been talking a lot and exchanging a lot of really cool ideas and different things about entertainment. And we decided to start a new series we're calling Backstage Banter, which is a little bit more of a casual type conversation where we're just going to talk about things that we don't normally talk about, things that you talk backstage or just like one-on-one, things that, shop talk kind of things. And so, yeah, we're starting this series, and today is our first episode.
Yeah, man. We're going to talk about music too, right? Like Judas Priest and Rush and all our favorite bands.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Definitely.
Because you're a drummer. And we had several conversations, on the phone about like nothing about work, but like, man, did you hear this song? Like, what are you listening to right now? Like, we really did kind of bond over music as well, which is it's the medicine for all, isn't it?
Yeah. And you have a lot of experience working in music, so you have a lot of very interesting stories to bring to this.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, we're gonna tell some behind the scenes stories about the things that happen at a rock concert or backstage and the crazy writer stuff. We can have a little bit, and maybe we'll have some rock star babysitters, some of our production manager friends taking care of Sting and Bon Jovi and those guys join us as well, which will be a lot of fun. So
yeah,
they've always got good stories, but they're not allowed to really tell the really juicy stories. We're not supposed to do those. But,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Good times, man. Good times.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for this. Thank you for actually letting me be a part of this endeavor. I was just like, Bryan, what do you think? And I was the one, like, I'm all like, nobody listens to an hour long podcast anymore. And you know what, Bryan? I've had like 10 people tell me that that's not true. That
Oh, really?
They listen. Oh, yeah. And they're like, no, I mean, they listen to like 5 hours of podcast, So
Wow.
no, yeah, I'm of this like thing that's like TikTok, right? This is what you and I were talking about, like in this TikTok society that everything's got to be fast, right?
Yeah.
But if you're going for a 45-minute drive, or in the city traffic, it could take you 20 minutes to go 3 miles. But no, a lot of people's. When I told everybody, hey, we're going to do this thing, it's going to be only 15 minutes long because, these hour-long podcasts and they're like, what are you talking about? So, but no, just kidding. No, I'm looking forward to this, man. It's going to be great. And we're going to do some of the case studies from the Production Manager's Toolkit, which is available on Routledge Press.
Nice
You
plug
like
there.
that plug? Yeah,
I love that.
Right. Yeah, the Production
Yeah,
Manager's Toolkit.
if no one knows, Jay is an author with Carrie Gillette. They wrote a book called The Production Manager's Toolkit. It's in its second edition now, right?
Second edition came out in March of last year, and it's actually selling better internationally right now than it.
How did that book deal even come up? I don't know if I know the story.
Oh my gosh. Well, what happened? I'll give you the 30-second. Carrie and I were at the USITT conference in Fort Worth, and we were having drinks at night like we do, and we were complaining that there's no textbook for production management. And it was Deb Aquavella from Emerson who turned to us and said, would you guys shut the hell up and just write the book yourself? And Carrie and I went, yeah, let's just write the book ourselves. I said, Carrie, let's go down to the expo floor where the USITT bookstore in the middle of the expo floor. And she goes, what are you going to do there? I'm going to ask the cashier how to get a publishing deal. I wait in line. I don't have anything to buy. I get to the cashier and I say, there is no book on production management in the United States, and you guys need to publish one. And we need to write it. That was it. And she looked at me like I was crazy, of course, and she didn't know what to do. So she says, do you have a business card? Right? The typical kind of blow off, right? Mm-hmm. So we gave her the business card. It gave her Carrie's business card, actually. And then we walked away. And we were like, well, that was dumb. But I said, hey, you got nothing to lose. Take the risk when you got nothing to lose. And then 2 weeks later, Bryan, we get an email from, oh my God, I can't believe I'm dropping her name right now. oh God, this is horrible. Our publisher, who I Stacy. Um, and she goes, "Hey, I just wanted you to know that it was me, the head of the new acquisitions, that was giving the cashier a coffee break for 15 minutes. So she was behind the cashier, and she didn't tell us
Oh,
who
wow.
she was when we." Yeah, man. She didn't want to tell us because it would have held up the line and it would have been a bigger conversation. So that's why she said, "Give me a business card," and I assumed it was a blow off,
Hmm.
and it was fucking her. It was her, man. For 15 minutes, Brian. If we stopped and got a coffee, or if we stopped and used the restroom, so many things have to
Wow,
line
that's
up
crazy.
perfectly to thread that needle.
Uh-huh.
Right. And then she says, "Okay, now you have to write a sample chapter." And then they send it out to 15 other production managers who either tell us that, they know what they're talking about, or they don't. And they did, we got 15 goes, we got 15 green lights. So that was great. That was really a lot of fun. And then they gave us 18 months to write it. And it's, we're like, Carrie, oh my God. And listen, had the writing imposter thing,
Oh, yeah. You're like, I can't write
oh
this.
man,
I'm not a good
no,
enough
man.
writer for
Listen,
this.
dude, I got kicked out of school because I didn't pass the upper division writing exam. I didn't get to graduate. Right?
Isn't that
So,
something? Now you're a
you know,
published author. Look at that.
right? Yeah, yeah. And the office when they kicked me out of school, my lighting designer professor, I had to go into his office, and that's my office now,
Oh, no
which is really
shit.
interesting.
Wow, full circle.
Yeah, yeah, 23 years
That is crazy.
in that office. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, I'm a published author. I want to take the textbook and go into the writing office and go, "Here's your fucking thing. Give me your one
Yeah.
point.
Look at me
I
now.
missed it by one. I missed it by 1 point, man. I was supposed to get an 8 and I got a 7. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I said, fuck you. I'm going to New York. I don't need the diploma.
Did you know any of the production managers that took a look at that book? Do you have any idea who they sent it to?
No, we intentionally tried to not do it. Not really dig in, because we were gonna interview, a lot of production managers, just because that was the way that we decided that, production management, when you come at it from so many different angles, there is no one way, right?
Yeah,
We all
right.
do kind of the same thing, but we all do it differently too. So
Hmm. There's
we
no
didn't
right
feel
way.
like we were the only voice. Yeah. And, I always tell my students, is like, hire people that are smarter than you to be in the room to make you look good. Right. So Carrie and I are like, we've been production managing for like 2 years, 3 years, so there are some really old timers. We should definitely get everybody's voice, which is why you see the text boxes and the quotes and stuff, and the case studies as well. There's so many voices. And there was one, man, I got to tell you, I won't mention names, but it was from an upper prestigious school in the theater world. And out of respect, interviewed that person first. And that person interrupted me and said, "Have you ever written a textbook before?" And I said, "No, sir." And he goes, "How long do you have to write it?" I go, 18 months. He goes, "You're dreaming." I said, "Excuse me?" He goes, "You're dreaming. You should call your publisher now and ask for a 6-month extension, because you'll never make the deadline." And I do this very extensive interview with him, because he is the almighty production manager in the nation, I guess. Um, so every time we got writer's block or anything, or we just couldn't, Carrie would say, "You're dreaming." And that was the fucking motivation that got us to the
Uh,
finish line on time.
wow.
Yeah, yeah. And by the way, I didn't use a word of that guy's
Oh, yeah.
interview.
Of course not.
No, 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 no. I'll tell you about it offline. Well, you probably know who it is, so it doesn't
Mm,
matter.
yeah.
I'm sure he's not listening now, so that's okay. Yeah. Mm.
Oh, that's crazy.
So anyway, yeah, man.
That's
Yeah. So
insane how you had that, you just, the right moment, you decided at the right time and everything
Mo
just, all the
Brian,
stars aligned, that's crazy.
and that is the way my entire career literally has gone,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
If you would have asked me a year ago, would I be working on a platform of apps for the filmmaking industry? The answer is no, but I am, because a salesman called me on accident thinking that I taught film at San Diego State. And I'm like, "No, you got the wrong guy." And he goes, "Oh, just look at our apps, do the demo for us." I'm like, "Nah, man, I'm not a film guy." He goes, "Oh, please." So I do. And then my production manager brain starts going off. And I'm like, "Why doesn't this app talk to this app, right? And why doesn't the budget app get, when you rent the equipment, it should populate the budget app. And all of a sudden these guys were like, oh my God,
Yeah. They're
you
like
are
ding, ding,
exactly what we
ding.
need. Yeah, because they're the creative filmmakers and they
Right.
don't think like production managers. So now I'm the fourth person in this thing that's going to happen. And they just went to the Arts, Media, and Entertainment Conference in Burbank this past weekend and demoed it amongst a lot of film people, and it got a lot of really positive feedback. So
Awesome.
I hope Netflix comes in and buys it for $100 million, and we just
Yeah.
we take 25 million each and go to Hawaii for a while.
Right. Exactly.
But that was me. I almost deleted the guys. It was recording, calling me to sell me some widgets, right? And I almost didn't call him back. And the next day I was going through my voicemails. I'm like, I'm going to erase my voicemails. And I listened to it and I'm like, who is this guy? So I do call him back, and that's a very out of character for me. And I said, how did you get my number, first off? And he goes, I don't know. My boss came over here and handed it to me, and it was on a Post-it note. And he said, call this guy. And I'm like, whoa, okay. So the other one is the musical that's just starting out that I'm helping out, called We Move in Color. They just returned from the Kennedy Center for Juneteenth, and a standing ovation, and insane. That was a email that was not supposed to go to me, and I responded and said, you got the wrong person, right? And she sees the signature line in my email that says School of Theater, Television, Film. And she says, she responded, my son just got a degree. And then she goes, my friend has a show you might want to be interested in. And I was like, oh, no, not a puppet show in a garage again.
Yeah.
And she goes, well, they just got back from the Kennedy Center last year because they did the Juneteenth celebration last year. And I thought, oh, well, you have my attention now.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Kennedy Center. So I called the producer and we start talking. And I said, hey, this sounds like a great piece for colleges. I go, send me your tech writer. He goes, we don't have a tech writer. We've only done one show. And I go, in my head, I just got a job. Let me build your tech writer. And that's what's happened. And now we're trying to put together a tour of the show. I'm using my friend Larry's helping us. Larry Richter, who's our concert promoter, who knows every venue in the United States, and we're going for it. They just got back from the Juneteenth. So again, man, serendipity, luck.
Yeah.
What do you call that? It's all.
Yeah, I think everyone has a like a version of that too, where you get in these situations where at the time you don't really think about it, it's just happening, but then when you reflect back on it, you're like, man, like it's really crazy how all those things lined up, and then you meet people that then take you to the next thing, and it's just kind of this, this ball of luck. I mean, there's not really any other way to describe it.
Yeah, and what is luck, right? Like, what is luck? I call it magic. I call it, being in the right place at the right time is good, but there's a third R, which is in this article that I wrote, actually, which is about ready, right? Right time, right place, and being ready to take that challenge, right?
Right.
And that's what I wrote this short 3-minute piece that was going to go into Stage Directions magazine. It starts with these four bubble boxes at the top, and it was so here's how it goes. It's me, and I say, this one kind of happened suddenly, and Tina Shackelford says, the best things do sometimes, and I said, if you're ready. And Tina's response was, luck is the residue of design, as they say. So our short text messages to each other would end with that, and that was, luck is the residue of design. And that quote that Tina mentioned would have me thinking for the rest of the day about that very subject called luck. And as I contemplated my own career, I wondered how much luck was involved with my success. Being in the right place at the right time was always something that just kind of happened to me. So was that luck or destiny or universal intervention? And why do some people have success or good luck and some just don't? Is luck a real thing? Is being in the right time at the right place enough? And later that night, I would discover that the quote that Tina brought up came from Branch Rickey, an American baseball player and sports executive during the 1940s. And Mr. Rickey was instrumental in breaking the color barrier of Major League Baseball by signing Jackie Robinson to the Brooklyn Dodgers in 1945. And this was getting interesting to me, so I decided that my research needed a little deeper dig. Because you see, about 12 hours earlier, my friend and colleague, Tina Shackelford, Associate Professor of Stage Management at Carnegie Mellon University, had reached out to congratulate me on my recent article in Stage Directions magazine, and Tina simply said, "Bravo on the article, nicely done." And my response was, "Thanks, Tina, this one kind of happened suddenly." And those of you that know me understand that this happens to me regularly. An idea pops into my head. I sit down as soon as I can. I get the idea scratched out on paper and pen and pencil. And the idea for the article on adaptability was no different, as it came to me very suddenly. And Tina's next text to me was simple and intriguing. The best things do sometimes. And that response was what made me think about how sometimes the best things in life do happen rather suddenly, but we have to be ready to accept those best things, those nuggets of luck when they do happen. So I replied just that, if you're ready. And her final response from that quote from Branch Rickey was, "Luck is the residue of design." So as I sat that night and thought about our text exchange, my mind took me back about 30 years to when I was first starting out as a professional stage manager. And my mentor, Douglas Peyote, rest his soul, used to question me by always asking, "Are you ready?" And the first time he asked me that, I stared at him with a blank look on my face, and I didn't know what he meant by that statement. And I said, "Ready? Ready for what?" That was so naive. And he said, "Ready for anything." He would say, "You have to always be ready, Jerome," which he loved calling me by my real name back then. "Ready for rehearsal to start, ready to move on to another production, ready for your life to change at a moment's notice." Because you see, it was Douglas who always reminded me that the success in my career would need more than luck. It would need more than being in the right place at the right time. It would take hard work, constant effort, and remembering that third R. "Don't ever forget," he would say. "It's the third R that we don't always work on or remember, and that stands for ready." He would go on to tell me, "You have to always be ready to face and accept the challenges in life, or else you're just going to be standing in the right place for a very long time, but not go anywhere." And he would go on to say to be ready to accept the risk, to take a chance, and go anywhere. Be ready to accept risk, take a chance, and be ready and grateful to accept the luck when it comes your way. So my mind raced back to Tina's text again, right? Luck is the residue of design. So in my search for the detailed meaning of Mr. Rickey's words, I came across the entire quote and everything started to clear up for me. So here it is. Mr. Rickey said, "Things worthwhile generally don't just happen. Luck is a fact, but should not be a factor. Good luck is what is left over after intelligence and effort have combined at their best. Negligence or indifference are usually reviewed from the unlucky seat. The law of cause and effect and causality both work the same with inexorable exactitudes. Luck is the residue of design." So looking back at my career, I can now see Douglas. He was setting me up for success, how he was testing me and telling me to always be ready for anything, take a chance, to risk myself, putting myself outside the normal boundaries of decision making. And each time a new challenge was presented to me, I would think about Douglas's advice. And to this day, I can still hear his guidance clearly. And all this time, I thought I was just lucky getting a break in the industry or getting that promotion because I was in the right place at the right time. But looking back now, I realized that I was also ready each time a new gig or promotion was presented to me. So the right time, right place, ready idea would soon become my mantra in my classroom. And these days, I constantly challenge my students to be ready for anything and to take risks and accept challenges that are before them. And it would be Tina's short 6-word text that night that would help me fully realize that luck is real and that luck is a fact and that I have been blessed to be able to live and thrive in this residue of design. And I'm very grateful to her for reaching out to kind of launch this little article that I wrote. So yeah, so that's luck, man. That's luck. So
Yeah. Yeah, I like the original, what Brent Trickey said at the very end of that that good luck is what is left over after intelligence and
Yeah,
effort
yeah,
have combined at
right?
their best. And that reminds me a
Yeah,
little bit
man.
of a book about grit and how the ability to continuously persevere through challenges
Uh,
that you have and not
uh,
giving up, I
man,
think is also part of like an ingredient to that. And and I think that goes into like being ready, and feeling
absolutely.
like that, even if something is not going just right and then you have a challenge, that you're still open and able to continue through whatever that is, or whatever that
Yeah,
new set of
man.
challenges might be. And even when you're presented with an opportunity like you were, you got a voicemail and you were going to delete it, but for some reason
Yeah,
you didn't.
yeah. What
Whatever
was
that
that?
was, you were ready in that moment, and you gave the guy a call back, and you're like, hey, you got the wrong person or whatever, and you're being
Yeah,
kind. And that opened up a whole new chapter and new door to something you haven't really ever explored before. So I think that's an important thing to point out too, that it's not just being where you want to be and being ready, but you're somehow receptive to what is being presented, you know, and
yeah.
it's
Wherever
not
you
always
are.
going to look like what you think it's going to look like.
I remember exactly where I was when I made that phone call back about the film industry thing. I was in an elevator, going down in the
Wow.
elevator, listening to my voicemails as I was going to jump in my car because I was probably late, and I didn't erase his, but I remember exactly what it was. So.
Wow. Yeah, so luck, the residue of design. I think that's what we'll leave you with today, to think about your own path and your own kind of experiences that you've had, and that luck is more than just the right place at the right time, but it's also about being ready to take on whatever that is. And I think that might be explain why some people are more lucky than other people. I think that you see people that, like you mentioned yourself, that you've had all these major breaks in your career, and you've always wondered how you got into the right place at the right time. And I think the fact that you were ready can explain a lot of looking at other people, and not even just in entertainment, but in different industries as well.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. And your work has to be good. You know what I mean?
exactly.
You have to do good work. Don't forget that part, right? But the right time, right place, ready gets you in the door,
Hmm.
but you have to do the work,
Yeah,
right? And so that people remember you, so people know, you know, oh, and I'll be in the right time in the right place because other people are going to hire me by referrals, and that's all right. Well, until next time, shall we say, parting is such sweet sorrow, but we'll see you again.
that's right. See you next time.
All right, all right, bro. Take care.
You too.